Welcome to episode 25 of the Family Geekery Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Amber.
And I'm Danny.
And being our special 25th episode celebration, we decided that we would do a video, our first ever video podcast, because the topic that we're talking about would lend itself well to us showing you pictures of it. So if you're listening to the audio podcast, just know that you can go over to YouTube and you can find this episode there. But if you want to follow along with the pictures that we're going to show, that'd be awesome. If not, you can just listen to it and enjoy it. So what are we talking about, girls?
Gadgets.
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 Geeky.
The geeky games and gadgets we grew up with. It's a lot. I'm choking on my Chipotle. That's the problem with being live on the camera, choking on my Chipotle. But yeah, that's a lot of G's, and this is something that we wanted to do. And as we were thinking about it, thought it was kind of hard to describe some of the things that we're talking about. Some things you may know immediately by the name, but we figured if we can show pictures of them, that'd be even better. So before we start off with that, any news going on this week?
Yeah.
What you got, Amber?
Last week I mentioned Disney's Dreamlight Valley, and it finally came out for early access, so I went ahead and picked that up. And so far, it is amazing. I love it so much so far. It's a little buggy here and there, but that's to be expected from a pre-release. But it's amazing. It's like everything you want from like Animal Crossing and Stardew Valley, and even kind of has a little bit of My Sims energy in there. But it's just with Disney characters, and so far, your first 3 characters that you can choose to unlock, the ones that aren't already living in your little area, are Wally, Moana, and Remy from Ratatouille. And why need a Disney princess when you can get a rat and a robot,
I was just thinking that was a pretty good lineup, but then now that you said that it's absent of all princesses, I guess, yeah, that's an odd choice.
But yeah, I mean, I think Frozen is going to be the next one that I can unlock. So they've got their fair share of characters in there.
They're going to make sure they get it all right first until they bring out the big heavy hitters. Make sure they get all the bugs out, and then they can monetize the crap out of it, probably. Well, that's cool. Yeah, I wanted to check that out. You told me that it launched, and I went to Steam, and I saw it. It was on my wish list. So somehow Steam didn't tell me that it was available. It looked like it just dropped a couple days ago. But pretty cool. How about you, Dan? Anything special going on?
Not much, but a little self-promo. Dad and I fixed up old PS2 to something a little more useful, and we found a little surprise inside, so you'll have to go see what that is.
Yeah, go to YouTube. Check out our video on fixing up a PlayStation 2. I think you'll see immediately by the thumbnail what she's talking about, the special surprises we found inside. Yep, that was a lot of fun. That was a little weekend project we did last weekend. Went to the local arcade that we have was having a sidewalk sale, and they were mostly selling a bunch of videotapes because the arcade exists in a videotape store. And so they're just getting rid of a bunch of stuff, a lot of anime, a lot of old school cartoons. But they had a couple like games there. So we picked up this, what I'm expecting was a broken PS2, and we made something cool out of it.
I watched the video, and it was really neat.
Cool. Yeah, so that was fun. I'm reading a new book. I finished off the other book, so I'm reading now the memoir of Sid Meier. You guys know who Sid Meier is?
Yeah, the Civilizations guy.
Yeah, famous for Civilization. It's a fascinating, but it's all written by him. It's his memoir, and the way he communicates is pretty cool. I think he and I are brothers from another mother's. a lot of his mindset on stuff is the same as mine, but it's really cool how he started getting into the game business, making games, and how his name became part of the selling point of it. Yeah, it's a really cool story. Other than that, anything else? Cool. So let's get on with the show then. So we're going to do this like Christmas morning style. We start with the youngest, and then we have them talk about something, and we'll go kind of round robin like that. Sound good?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So can you see my screen here?
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Let me go to where I can change it. So first up, Danny, what are we looking at here?
It's a iDog.
iDog. What does an iDog do?
I don't really remember. All I knew is like its ears waved, its tail waved, and I don't know. You can like control them on your phone or something.
That was before phones.
Or your,
Well, before iPhones, right?
Yeah, probably in the iPod days, right? It was an iDoggy or something like that. iDog.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think it had a headphone jack in it that you'd plug in, and I think the lights on the front of it would sync up to the beat of the music.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It wasn't super super high tech, but it was cool. It made for a little nice light show on its face, and they had a bunch of those different like frogs and all kinds of different animals. Mostly junk though, but it was fun.
Mhm.
So these thank you for kicking that off, Danny. These things that we're showing you, I told the girls to think of things that they grew up with that were kind of geeky in nature, and it could be games or toys or gadgets. So that's what we're going with. So next up is Amber, and oops, there we go. I'm learning the interface as we go here. What do we got here?
Here we have a juice box, and you could do all kinds of things on this little guy. I had some TV shows loaded up on there, some music. I watched a lot of Codename Kids Next Door on there.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it was a good one. And I think you could also play games on it. I like simple ones, maybe. I don't remember. I think I mostly used it for watching and listening. But yeah, it was nice. I had the blue one, of course.
Yeah, it was very low res. Now this here is like a little memory card, and you would buy different ones to plug into it, and maybe like you said, Kid Next Door or some other TV show or music videos, and they had a pretty good run. They made a pretty good amount of those things, and then they all ended up on clearance, which is probably when we bought it. We probably bought it on clearance, and then got all the little cartridges for it pretty cheap. But yeah, it was kind of neat. It didn't have there was some hacky ways to get more stuff on there, like to get your own stuff on there, but not as much as. Did you guys ever have I forget what it's called. Like it was the same thing, but it had like little small CDs. I forget what that one was called.
I don't think so.
Video one or video CD or something like that. I remember those. You could actually burn your own mini CDs. It had, if you used the CDs that were like the size of the GameCubes, you could burn your own stuff on them. But Juicebox was a little bit cheaper, a little bit lower tech, but a lot of fun. So I remember you using that on road trips and stuff, right? Keep you occupied while we were driving down to Florida or something.
Even just like in my room, just randomly, like it was a good little gadget.
And every time you turned it on, it would go juice box.
Yeah.
Had a little juice box stinger to it. Yep.
I don't remember that at all.
You
didn't have one.
Mm-mm.
I think in our storage, I've got one like sealed in the package still.
Oh.
I found one years later after they clearanced it even cheaper than the clearance ones that we bought. So I've got one mint in package just waiting for that eBay cash. Waiting for it to become like a $1 million thing. When people your age are the millionaires, then you're going to be like, oh, I want one of those. And I'll be
Sure.
like, I got one.
Mhm.
It's a little dusty, but I got one. All right, next up. So look at this thing. Now, pay no attention to the fact that it's in Russian. But this is the best picture I could find of my first digital watch, which may seem very mundane to most people, but I was, in this case, the first person in my family to have a digital watch. Everybody else had regular watches, of course. I remember buying it at, it must have been like Montgomery Ward or one of those type department stores like a Sears or something. And I bought it with my own money at the jewelry counter. You know how the jewelry counters have like the little spinny things with watches in them,
Yeah.
or the jewelry cases of watches. So I picked it out. I think it was $19.99, which as probably what, a 10-year-old, 12-year-old kid, that was a lot of money.
Mhm.
But I got it, and I was the first one in the family to have this device. And I come from a family of my father and my grandfather is where I kind of got the gadget gene from. My grandfather had to have like the first of everything. So it was kind of a good bragging right in my family to be the first to have this. Now, this is what they call a 5-function watch. And if you see in the on the label there, that's mostly Russian, there is a 5 there. I'm guessing that's what that stands for, is a 5-function watch. That's what they listed it as. Do you know what the 5 functions are?
Tell time.
Yep.
Date.
And that's it.
Not like a stopwatch.
You got all 5 of them right there. So on this screen, it would show hours and minutes. If you push the button, it would show the date. So a 2-digit month and a 2-digit day. And if you push it again, it would show the seconds counting up from 0 to 60. And that was it. That's all it did. But you said stopwatch. You know, most modern, watches have stopwatch function. To me, that was a stopwatch. You click it 2 times, you get to that second screen, and then you'd be like, okay, I'm going to time you. Wait, but then I'd have to say, wait until it goes to 00. Okay, start now. And then I could time somebody, because there's no way to start, stop, reset like a normal stopwatch. But yeah, that was the beginnings of my had to have the first gadget type mentality. So that's why that's on the list.
Nice.
All right. And watches just before this weren't even LCD. They were like the red backlight, 7-digit displays. Those were kind of crazy. So let's go to the next one here. Danny, this one's yours. What are we looking at?
Like good old iPod.
iPod Touch, right?
Yep.
What do you like about the iPod Touch? You even got an old school picture of it.
Yeah. I could play games on it. I liked Temple Run.
Oh yeah.
There's also like Icy Slushy Maker, all those like food making games.
Oh yeah.
What was the one where the ice cream dropped from the sky and you had to catch them in the color?
Scoops.
Scoops, yeah.
And they also had like a burger version of it.
Oh, that burger one was great.
Yeah. I like that. You couldn't take pictures on this, could you?
Not with the first ones. I think once you get to the iPod Touch 4, I think is when you could take pictures. But yeah, when they first came out, everybody was like, what in the heck is somebody going to do with an iPhone that isn't a phone? Right? Because it came out shortly after the iPhone, and everybody's like, what? All the critics are saying, what good is an iPhone without the phone functionality? And little did they know, hey, put one of these in the kid's hand and throw a bunch of games on it, and you don't have to worry about them for a couple days. I call it digital crack. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was a lot of fun. And then, of course, shortly after that, the iPads became a thing. And then the same people came out and said, "What the heck is someone going to do with a large version of an iPhone that doesn't have phone capabilities?" And here we are, years later, with everybody's got an iPad.
I was an iPad kid.
Is that
Very,
a thing?
Shame.
very much.
Shame.
I'm
Yes,
still an
that's a
iPad
thing.
kid.
So that's
I
a
still
moniker.
sit in my bed with an iPad.
So they've, in my day, they called kids latchkey kids. Have you heard that term?
No.
It just means the parents were off somewhere else and the kid was in the house, hopefully still alive. All right. Amber's up next with this guy. What are we looking at?
Yeah.
Ooh.
This is a Disney MP3 player. I don't know what specifically it's called, but it's got Mickey Mouse's face on it, and it's an MP3 player.
It was Mix something, wasn't it?
I don't know. I just
Yeah.
Googled Disney MP3. But I had a lot of music on this. A lot of it was like Disney music, but also had like just like other stuff like Avril Lavigne, and I was big into Avril Lavigne as a kid. So had some of that, had some Hannah Montana and High School Musical probably.
Mhm.
And this is just good stuff. Just plug in headphones and you're good to go.
Yeah, so this cap right here, if you pulled it off, it was actually a USB
Yeah.
connector. You just plug it into your computer, and I think there was a small chip on the side here that you could take out. But most of the times you just plug it into the computer like a thumb drive and load a couple songs on it. And of course, you didn't know what you were playing, no screen on it to tell you what you're playing, but you got your forward and back and play and stop, and looks like you can even shuffle or repeat
Yeah.
with his ears. I thought I had one of those in the junk drawer, but instead I found this.
That was Danny's.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think I had like a pinker colored one. I remember I had High School Musical Bop to the Top, or whatever that song is called. And I would listen to that on repeat.
Wasn't there like a doll with it or something? I thought you had an MP3 player that like turned into a doll.
Might be.
I don't know.
Yeah, like maybe it stood in something. Maybe it had like a stand that it stood in and it had some wings or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right now it's a little sticky and it's got some hair on it. So it's going to go back in the junk drawer when I'm done with this.
Ew.
I'll leave it in there for the archaeologists of later years to find and be like, what the heck is this? Sticky and hairy things that they used to play with. Yep, nothing wrong with having some good old tunes to go with you. I think it charged off the USB too. It was a pretty nice little
Probably,
thing.
yeah.
Probably got it on clearance. All right, you guys know what this is?
Cars.
Racing toy.
So they call it slot car racing.
Oh, okay.
So you got the plungers. Each person has a plunger, and each person has a car, and you put the cars in the track, and the track has a little groove in it, and then two pieces of metal. And the groove on the nose of the car, like in between the two front wheels, is a little stud, like a plastic piece that sits in that track, in that groove. And you push down your plunger, and the farther you push it down, the faster it goes. And if you go too fast and it wipes out of control, you can see it's got the guardrails here to try to keep, because the back side of the things would spin out. And you wouldn't want it to spin off the track or else you'd lose the race. So you got to kind of constantly change the speed of it and stuff. Now, why I'm showing this, I had one growing up. Didn't have anybody to play with it, but I'd have both plungers in my hands. But why I'm showing it is this is the toy, if you will, that brought me into the desire to learn electronics.
Aw.
So this one here doesn't show it, but plugged into at some point was a big box that held like 4 D-cell batteries D cells are the big ones you'd put in an old school flashlight. And you put these 4 D cell batteries in it, and it would plug into the track here, and that's what's powering it. Just so that would be 6 volts of DC. And as you're adjusting your plunger, you're putting more or less voltage to it, and the more voltage you put to it, and underneath here is little brushes, little metal brushes on each side, and that's what's touching the metal. So as the brushes receive the voltage from the metal strips, then it would tell the wheels to go faster or slower. Okay. So I thought that was pretty cool, except if I had the guardrails in the right place, I could squeeze the thing all the way down and it would still stay on the track. I thought, we need to make this thing go faster. So I go get some more D cells, and I see that they're sitting kind of head to toe, like positive to negative. And later in life, I knew that it's called series. That's a series circuit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, well, if I put some more like this, then maybe it'll go faster. So I didn't have soldering irons and electrical tape, but I did have some wires, which I'll talk about later. I had some wires, and I had clear Scotch tape, which is not something to use on electronics. But so I took the other 4 batteries, put them in the same series circuit as the ones that were in the little plastic case, and now I have 12 volts going to what wants to have 6 volts max to it, right? So I put the cars on, I push the plungers down, and I notice that they are going faster. And when I push them all the way down, not only do they go faster, but they start smelling really weird too. So you put more voltage on that track than what the brushes want, and the brushes actually start melting.
Yikes.
Nice.
But for a short period of time, I did learn that 12 volts makes a motor go faster than 6 volts. And even if I didn't know that that's what the equation that I was inducing, that was enough for me to say, hey, I want to do more of this electronics stuff. So that's what led later in life to my career.
Nice.
Wow.
All right. Who's next? Danny again?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what do we got here?
A PSP.
What does that stand
PlayStation
for?
Portable.
PlayStation Portable.
Yo, you stole mine.
Wait, did you have this too?
Yeah.
You can both talk about it.
Okay, but you had
Danny,
the better picture.
Danny, you start.
So this was, like it's called, a PlayStation, but portable, and you could play games, watch movies. You would like buy the little discs, and then you'd put them in the PSP. And I remember watching movies and I watched Sandlot. I watched Sandlot for the first time on this.
I think that was like rated PG, and your mother and I were concerned about you watching it. Or was it PG-13?
I think it was PG.
I think it was PG-13.
They had some like humor and stuff.
Dark humor.
Yeah.
Or gross humor. Adult themes.
We had a purple one. It had stickers.
I
on
had
it.
a purple one.
We had probably a half dozen of them.
I had the first
You had a
one,
purple
though.
one.
Yeah, I had the Hannah Montana one, and it came with stickers, so I put some stickers on it. I've always been one to not like branding on things, so I only put the more neutral stickers, just like the flowers and guitar and stuff, and nothing that actually said Hannah Montana. But it did come with a Hannah Montana game, and that game was so much fun. You would like pick her outfits and set up the stage, and it was kind of like a really easy Guitar Hero, because you would just have to like press circle when the circle button showed up, and you would like pick her dance moves and stuff. It was so cool. And besides that, I played a lot of other games. Like this really got me into gaming, I think. And you could watch movies, you could listen to music. I probably had the same songs on this that I had on, all my other music players, but I liked this, that you could see the like bars going up and down with the sound. It was a blast, and I played that a lot.
It was a fantastic device for its time, because this kind of coincided with the Nintendo portables, the GBA Advance, getting into probably the DS at that point. But the screen on this one was just 10 times better than the DS screen. But Nintendo kind of wiped their butts with market share as far as that goes. It's just kind of hard to beat Nintendo's hold on the portable market at that time, because Sony made some great devices after the PSP. They made the PSP Go and then the PS Vita. But
I mean, the Switch kind of looks like this, so who really won?
Yeah, Nintendo. But yeah, this is great disc base. Like you said, they used UMDs was the name of the disc that you would use. I've got a crap ton of UMDs because after they stopped selling these things, those things started getting cheaper and cheaper. And like I said, I probably have a couple of these left. We got the fat ones, we got the skinny ones. And yes, I still have your purple one, right?
Nice. And we wouldn't get rid of that.
No, I don't.
I think I still have all the discs also.
Isn't that little like baggy?
Yeah, we had a special bag for
a
all of our
monkey blue bag.
It was Little's Pet Shop. It was like a pencil case, but yeah.
This was also the age of the generation where I started getting into console modding, and I was ordering a bunch of stuff from China, some sketchy stuff from China. And they had like a TV kit. I don't know if you even remember that, but they had a TV kit that you could plug this thing into and have it play up on the TV. But yeah, it was pretty neat device. Glad you guys enjoyed that.
Oh yeah.
All right, so my version of that looked a little bit like this. So this guy right here is Epoch Man. And Epoch Man was a horrible rendition of Pac-Man, right? Epoch was actually the name of the company, and it was a play on words for Pac-Man. And this game played like Pac-Man, except you can see it's segmented LCD. So your guy would go through the maze here, and there'd be pellets, and there'd be bad guys. And you can see the maze is not near as big as like a Pac-Man maze. Of course, they had portable Pac-Man machines, and they had that kind of stuff. But this was the version that I got, and it was probably a Radio Shack deal. Probably bought it at Radio Shack, which is where you get all your electronic games and devices back then. But this actually had, so you got the up, down, left, right to go through there. I got it for Christmas, and we've got family videos. I don't know if you've ever seen them of me playing this on Christmas morning, and my mom's yelling at me because I didn't put it down like the whole day. I think the video goes all the way to Christmas night, and I'm still on the couch playing it. Well, I'd figured out in that day the pattern, so I could play this thing forever and just play the same pattern. Every level was exactly the same because you can see the levels printed on the friggin' glass, right? So it didn't take long to figure out. But this thing also had, I don't know if you can read this, but it had stopwatch and an alarm clock built into it. You can see it's got the days of the week over here. So it's actually showing you right now it's 12 o'clock on Tuesday. So you can set an alarm. You can use that as a clock. I got a lot of fun out of that one. And then this one over here, this behemoth of a machine, this is what my cousin had. And we took a road trip once to New Orleans to go to the World's Fair. And we're sitting in the back of his, I think, minivan or something like that. And we've got this thing for this several hour drive from their house to the World's Fair. And this thing took all kinds of, I think it was C cells, maybe 6 or 8 C cells, which are a little bit smaller than D cells. But it would just chew through them because, it's not LCD. It's, again, this backlit segment display. And not near as much fun as, not true to arcade as the Defender game. You guys have played Defender at the local arcade here, right? It's the one with all the crazy controls.
Probably.
You get the up-down joystick, but then you got like the 17 buttons to the right for thrust and reverse and bomb and all that stuff. So you can see it's got all these buttons to do that. And we played that thing, and I don't know if we must have had a couple dozen batteries and the back there to cycle through to make it on this long trip.
Wow.
It would just eat these batteries up. But it was that was about as much fun as you can get out of a handheld device back then. Far cry from what you guys had growing up. All right, coming up next.
Oh, nice.
Light Bright.
Everybody had a Light Bright growing up. What did you like about the Light Bright, Danny?
Well, I kind of forgot about this until I was looking some up today, and it's kind of like the start of like my pixel art love. Like, I didn't realize how early on I was practicing my pixel art with some little plastic pieces that would light up. And I know I really like this. I could just be really creative and make a bunch of things, and then I can turn it on and see what it looks like. And I thought that was really cool.
Yep. We had one growing up, which this is showing a mini one. We had like the full size one growing up. I don't remember. You guys probably had a battery powered one. The one I had to plug into the wall because batteries just weren't good back then. And you had a full like real legit light bulb behind there. That's why you needed to plug it into the wall. And you would take the black part off and put a piece of notebook paper in there. I don't know if you guys ever did that. And then put the black part back on. And as you start feeding the pegs in there and making your design, and it's all pretty, you could take that piece of paper out and the design would be there. Now, the only problem is the design is all one color, right? It's whole colored. It's just a punctured piece of paper colored. So you'd end up with, you're like, oh, cool, I just made Scooby-Doo. And then you take the thing off and you look at your piece of paper and it's just a bunch of holes. It didn't look like anything, but I guess if the girls in this picture did it, then it would look like a creepy heart when they pulled it out. But
I think we had paper that you would put over top,
like a stencil.
And I think, yeah, and then it would have like a little R for red, a little O for orange. I think we actually did have a Scooby-Doo set of those papers.
We did. The only problem was like once you punched a hole through it, you couldn't like see the color
it is.
Right.
So you'd have to remember.
If only you could scan those in and then made photocopies or something. Yeah, Light Bright's been around forever.
Yeah.
They're always going to be good. I think they've made, you had the flat screen. They called it the flat screen, right?
I thought we had like a four-sided one.
Yeah, there's a picture of like a four-sided, like white with blue screen. Like it was like four sides to it.
Mm.
So I remember once they started getting like LEDs instead of incandescent bulbs, they could make them much less deep, much skinnier.
Mm.
So I think one of the ones that you did have, I remember the four-sided one now that you say that, but I think one of the ones you did have was called the Light Bright flat screen because it looked like a flat screen TV in that sense. A lot lighter, less batteries. All right, what's next?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
So
what the heck is this?
We had this exact one.
I know. I think it might be the only one. But this was a Littlest Pet Shop planner, I guess. It was kind of like a Tamagotchi where the little dog was like my pet and I would have to like take care of it and stuff, which was really fun. But also you can see like in the sides there of the screen, you had like a calculator, and the phone was a place where you could put phone numbers for all your friends, and there was like a calendar, I guess, that you could put like important days on. But then on the left side, you had like I don't know, you could give gifts or receive gifts from the pet, and then you could like play with the pet. It was a lot of fun, and I don't know, it was just so cool that like I could like have my little pet, but then have all my friends' phone numbers and stuff right in there too.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Even with the stylus, this thing plugged right in up here, it looks like.
Yeah, it went right in the top.
Cool. Little's Pet Shop.
Good stuff. I mean, the toys were really good too, but I don't know. We said gadget, and this was a gadget. So
Definitely a gadget. All right.
Whoa, what the heck?
Look at this thing. So we had growing up a lot of electronic project kits or electronic experiment kits, and they were 50 in one, 101, 301. They just kept getting bigger and bigger. And again, this would be something that you'd find in your Radio Shack catalog. Like the Radio Shack catalog for me at Christmas time was, I'd just sit there and circle stuff all day long, give it to my parents, and they'd go find something on clearance, just like I did for you guys. But you would take, I don't know if you've ever seen one of these, but all these circles here that you're seeing are springs. Springs about 1 inch tall. And then over here is all your pre-cut pieces of wire. And you would bend the spring over, put the wire in it, and let the spring go back up, and it would pinch that wire in place. So you would have inside the box here, you would have a book that would say, okay, we're going to make a motion detector or something. And it would show you where you wire this guy to this guy, this guy to this guy. So you got a bunch of resistors, a bunch of capacitors. You got some little ICs, some transistors, meters, relays. So you got inputs and outputs. And between all this stuff, you would make something semi-useful, right? And it would show in there also a schematic of what you were doing, complete with like how many ohms your resistors are and stuff. But that didn't make any sense. I just wanted to get the wires, connect up the wires. And then same thing, you got some batteries here. And like one of the first things you make is like a buzzer, so that you have some kind of like, this is your little Morse code key thing, which is basically just an open switch. So you would wire this open switch in with some resistors and the power, and then the speaker, and it would go meet, meet, meet every time you push the button. So then you start thinking, well, okay, if 2 batteries make that noise, let's see what 8 batteries make. And
my gosh.
It makes your mom come in and say, what the hell are you doing? Because it gets louder and louder, of course. But yeah, so I don't know if this was the exact one I had, because like I said, they made a bazillion of them, and they kept getting better and better. They started having like real 7-segment displays like I've been talking about on there that you could program up and stuff. And just a lot of fun. Again, really kind of reinforcing my love of electronics over the years. All right, Danny, what do you got here?
A leapfrog. Another
Leapfrog.
little.
Was this the kind that you had?
I don't know. I couldn't remember which.
Remember the little books.
Yeah, we had like the book one. It was
Right.
like a console, right?
But I do remember the plug-in. Like you would plug them in. I don't know.
I don't remember
Yeah.
this one that much, but I do remember it.
Leapfrog made a lot of different devices, and each time they did, the little cartridges from the last one didn't work in the next one. And they were all licensed cartridges, like Winnie the Pooh or Thomas the Tank Engine or something. So they were doing that on purpose. They were making their money, make the actual console for cheap, and then sell all the damn cartridges to the stupid parents.
Didn't
yeah,
we
we-
have a console one that plugged into the TV?
That's what I thought.
Oh
'Cause I
yeah,
remember the frog, and he was like wearing like a fishing outfit.
yeah. I remember some kind of thing that plugged into the TV.
Mm-hmm.
But I mostly remember the book style ones.
Yeah,
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 before
we
they
had a lot of the
before they
book
had screens
ones.
on them. You had that storybook reader too. Remember the storybook reader?
Yeah,
That one definitely had some Winnie the Pooh stories in it. That was a big selling point.
yeah.
Had to have the Pooh. Very cool. All right, what do we got here?
This was the PlayStation 2 camera thing that came with a game, and the game had lots of mini games probably, but the only one that I remember was the wishy-washy washing the windows one. We would get up there and we'd have to like move our hands around to clear off all the soap from the window, and it would like time us. And that's the only thing that I remember playing on this. And I remember we would play it, the whole family, just for like hours, just taking turns washing the windows.
See who got the bigger percentage.
Yeah.
It would track your percentage of how much of the window. And it would keep on like getting wetter and wetter as you went along, I think. But yeah, that was the iToy. They made the iToy, which is I think the first camera for the PlayStation. And then they made a lot more games than what I thought, because I looked it up today. I remember the iPlay, which I think came with it, and then the iPlay 2 and iPlay 3. I think we had iPlay and iPlay 2, but they had a bunch of different games for it. Very rudimentary camera, but it worked pretty well. It was motion sensing camera that would track your movements, and pretty neat. Not near as cool as the Kinect, but for its time, it was pretty darn cool.
Yeah, years before the Kinect, right?
Yeah. Yep. I guess they were onto something there, because they've made a camera for each system since. The PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4 and 5 all have cameras.
One of them had the little handles with the ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
the PS4.
that was the PS3,
Yeah.
but it also worked on
okay.
the PS4. Yep. And those balls would help it track a little bit more accurate than just the camera itself.
We had a Harry Potter game. I remember you would use that as the wand.
Yep, very neat. All right. Have I ever told you about the Big Track?
I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
This was the coolest damn thing that I ever had. And where it is now, I have no clue. Someone sold it. It wasn't
It's on
me.
eBay.
Someone sold it at a garage sale. But this thing right here, so the Big Track itself was this truck. And then optionally, you could buy this dump attachment to it. But on the top of it right here that you can see in color was this keypad. And you would take this thing and you would actually program it, forward 20. And it wasn't a measurement of feet or something. It was just some integer. Right, 90, forward 40. And then the in and out would control this dump thing here. So you could have it actually dump up and then come back down. And you would program all this in, beep, 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 put it on your floor and hit go, and it would just start trucking. And it would go through your house. So I would program it all up in my room and see if I could approximate, how long the hallway was and at what angle it had to turn to make it into the living room. And look at a commercial for it someday. See if there's a Big Track commercial on YouTube, because I think they even show like the kid bringing a can of Coke to his grandpa or something. Maybe it was a beer. It was the 70s/80s, so maybe he was bringing a beer to him or something. But yeah, it would go, and if you had your calculations wrong, then it would start bumping into stuff, and you'd have to grab it, and you'd have to reprogram it again and try it again. But it was a fantastic piece of technology for a toy, which is why it's probably on the wish list of every geek like me that had one growing up. So they'd probably sell for big money on eBay. But yeah, probably my favorite toy like that growing up.
It's kind of like the Lego robots, but
Yeah.
like programmed right on there and not like on the computer.
Yep.
Those Lego ones are really nice.
Very early for its day. And this thing right here, I don't know if you...
It's for a soda can.
I think that it would
Or a
just go
beer.
through and there would be a hole there, and I'd put my like Star Wars figures in there,
Nice.
and it would act like they're driving. But yep.
That's fun.
All right. Whose is this?
That's
Not
mine.
Okay.
I really don't know how to describe this to anyone. But I remember having a lot of fun. Another thing that plugged into the PlayStation, monkeys and I think there was like trivia involved.
Yeah.
That was a separate game. Yep.
Oh, okay. But it was kind of like Mario Party, but with these monkeys and with these like little button attachments, and we would all play. And I don't know. I remember it was like my favorite thing, and I remember winning a lot. I don't know. Maybe that was why it was my favorite thing, but I remember winning.
That's because if you didn't, there was a bad time afterwards. If Mom and Dad didn't let you win every now and then.
I didn't even know the name of it. Buzz Junior Jungle Party.
So this was called the Buzz Controller. And the Buzz Controller was 4 inputs that went to a single USB, and the PlayStation 2 had a USB. It wasn't the main controller, but it had a USB input for it. And so they had several different, they had a Buzz Robot, they had the Buzz Jungle Party, they had the Buzz Trivia, which was full on that game show, like hit the button to answer the question type thing. But yeah, it was definitely very much like Mario Party, and probably in direct competition with Mario Party. But it was a lot of fun, a good. This must not be too accurate, because I don't think you could have 4 people that close to each other.
I remember we were sitting on the floor and couches.
The leads on that were a little bit farther for each of the players. But yep, a lot of fun. What's next? All right.
Oh, nice.
I'm excited to talk about this one.
All right.
These are Hexbugs, Hexbug Nanos. And this one is more of like a memory, like sentimental memory, because that there was this tech shop that
Radio Shack.
It's called Radio Shack.
The one that you mentioned so many times.
Like the one that was near the Panera?
Next to Panera,
Yes.
Yep. Okay, well.
It's now a vape shop.
Well, there's a Radio Shack. And I'd be out running errands with Dad. He's like, okay, I'm gonna stop in this store real quick. Don't worry.
Don't worry.
So I go in there, follow him around for a bit. He's like, okay, I'm almost done. I promise. I'm like, okay. And then he'd be like, okay, I'll get you something since you're being a good sport. I'm like, fine. And they had this little tub, like near the cashier area. I think they had their own little section too, and it was just a tub of these multicolored little bugs. And I would get one like every time we would go. And they were just these little bugs. They had a little switch on the end, and they would you turn it on and they would vibrate so that they would move forward. And they didn't really have a direction. They just keep going until they hit something. And I think they also made tracks and other accessories for them.
I made habitats for them.
Yeah.
Like a squirrel, like a gerbil habitat almost.
They even had spiders and bigger ones too.
Yeah. So I'd have fun with that. And then I'd try to use it on the carpet, and then it would just get stuck in carpet and hair, and I'd be like, oh, never mind. But yeah, I like those a lot. And they actually remind me, I didn't put this in the little slides, but something kind of similar that we had was Zuzu pets. We were big on Zuzu pets. The little hamsters. Yeah. I like those a lot. They had kind of the same thing. You turn them on and they had a little mind of its own. They would run and have a little obstacle course. I like that.
So the ones at Radio Shack, they were always in clearance. That's why I got them for you.
I remember. But you said Radio Shack a couple times, and I was like, oh man, I forgot about Hexbug Nanos. So I'm glad that you remembered them, Danny. But I remember since they were on clearance, there'd be like the Christmas ones in February, and we had one with a reindeer. I had a reindeer hat.
I had that green and neon one. I had that
nice.
One.
Yeah, basically inside this thing is just a motor, just a DC motor that just spins, and it just makes the whole thing vibrate.
What would happen if they run out of battery or whatever? Could you open it up and change it, or is it just
imagine
dead?
That they were? No, I think it did have a little hearing aid battery, Tiny little, they call them button cells batteries. I think they had those in there. Because that was basically the bulk of it was the battery. And like I said, just a little tiny DC motor that just spins with, they would spin and it have like a flywheel on it that was off-centered, and that's what would make the thing vibrate. See, this is an educational show today. Learn about DC motors.
I might have to go on Amazon and buy some new Hexbug Nanos.
Speaking of DC motors, so this was my Hexbug Nano growing up. They were called Stomper 4x4s. Now, 4x4s were huge in the 70s. Like, they were really starting to take off. And this thing right here, you'd put one AA battery in it. Had a little battery door underneath it. You put one AA battery in it, and it just had an on-off switch on it. And you switch that thing to on, and it would just start going. And the big selling point of these things is they would just go over everything, right? Think about, at the same time, we got all these Hot Wheel cars. And Hot Wheel cars are great on tracks, but not on carpet. Like you said, they'd get full of hair or something. So these things they'd go over carpet, they'd roll over your foot, and they're only a little bit bigger than a Matchbox car, really, only a little bit bigger than a Hot Wheel. But they would just roll over everything because they had the off wheel or the 4x4 drive, and they had the off-road wheels. And it even came, I don't know if you can tell what that is right there, but it's more tires that you could put on. So if this, and it was, I think it was like a foam rubber type substance. So it was a little bit pliable. You would peel that off and put a new one on if you wanted to. But I had just a butt ton of them, and I had them in a case that looked just like this. And look, they were $6 at Kmart in this picture here. So they weren't cheap as your 75-cent Hot Wheels at the time, but it was electronic and it was cool. And same thing, right? 1.5 volts is all it takes to make these wheels turn. What do you think 3 volts does to it? You starting to see a theme here?
You broke all your toys.
Not as much
testing.
Now these things, so like I said, it had a little DC motor in it, but then it had gears inside. And the gears are little tiny white plastic gears that make the wheels go. And if you take any kind of motorized thing like this that has a motor and gears, and you have a dead battery and you push it on the carpet, you hear that plastic clicking. I don't tolerate that because I had a friend that would do that, and it would just shear all the gears. You know, all those plastic gears, they would just shear apart, and then it wouldn't work anymore. So I never have a low tolerance for anybody that pushes a DC motor without it being fully powered. That's my little gripe. Don't break your stoppers. All right, what else do we got here? Uh-oh.
Did you put these in here?
I forgot about them right until we started recording.
So we got Glow-E was the company, right? Glow-E Bear and Glow-E Dog.
Glowy Doggy. Glow Doggy.
Yeah, we just call them Glow Doggy and Glow Bear.
Well, I wonder where mine is.
I can tell you that I now understand your generation's fascination with RGB lights. Because you all went to bed with RGB lights in your crib or whatever. You know how many freaking batteries I put in these things for you guys? Because one of you wouldn't go to bed without it glowing. Then we'd have to sneak into your bedroom.
You, Danny.
We'd have to sneak into your bedroom an hour later and turn it off.
I remember I mostly slept with it off. Like, I would have it on, but then like when I went to bed, I would turn it off.
I think I did keep it on.
I don't know why they didn't put like a turn off timer on the thing, but it was just a single button push to turn it on, single button push to turn it off. And in the back, you'd have to do surgery, right? You have to peel apart
little Velcro.
Yeah,
Velcro, get the battery pack out. And well, one of them, I think the Bear's battery pack was so damaged because it's just that tiny little wires. And I had to repair that thing so many times. I had to take it into work and solder it, and
really
so many times. And then the battery door would break off. I'd have to use black tape to keep the battery door on. There was a lot of surgery going on with those Glow Bears and Glow Dogs.
I remember mine was lost for years, and I don't know what happened to it. I thought we like got rid of it or something, but then years later, you were like, "Here, look what I found," and it was a glow bear. But
You bought another
did you
one.
buy another one and like try to trick me that it was like the same one?
That's very possible.
I think you did.
Yours might have gotten beyond repairability.
Ah.
And it got lost. Just like your goldfish.
Because I remember,
Oh, your goldfish is visiting his family on the farm.
I remember I was so happy when we found it again. So I don't know. It was like years later.
Was it cleaner when we found
I
it?
think so. I was like, okay.
There was, when I was looking for these pictures, there was a dog that his hair looked like this bear. And I don't think it started that way. I think it was just well loved. and the fur was all like just crazy like this. Like it,
Wait, the bear wasn't supposed to look like that?
no, the bear was, but the dog,
Yeah.
you can see the dog is a little bit smoother. But I found a picture of a dog that looked like this. So it must have been well loved.
That's good.
I gotta find that.
I think
Yeah.
that's the end of our list here.
Mm.
Well, it was fun going down memory lane, talking about our gadgets and our games and our toys and geeky stuff. The Tamagotchi thing, your littlest pet shop, that one I think was the only one I didn't recognize right away. It took your explaining before I remembered what it was.
That was like the first thing that popped to mind after the PSP I spent the most time with, but yeah.
Yep. I also had this guy. I know I've showed it to you before.
Oh yeah.
This thing I spent hours playing with, and I finally found it at a antique store, and I bought it. And this one's in really good condition. It still works. It's got like tic-tac-toe, which is mildly amusing for about 2 minutes, and then it had almost like a what was Simon? Remember Simon?
Okay. Yeah.
But it had, it has nine different tones instead of 4. So that was a little bit more entertaining. But then it had a game on there. I forget what it's called. It's written on the back here, but I can't read it. It had a game that when you push one button that's lit up, it makes 2 other ones flip-flop.
Oh, I hate those.
And I got really good at that game. In fact, I programmed that not too many years ago, just to see if I could. So we'll have to make that game again.
Another one that I thought of while we were recording, kind of similar to that thing, was the one where you have all the shapes that you have to put. You like start the timer and you have to put all the yellow shapes into all the holes that they match in. But if you don't do it in time, it like pops up and like all the shapes fly out.
Aggravation.
Is that what it was called? It was called something like that.
I think it's called aggravation. Yeah. You turn the timer and it would, as soon as the timer went off, then they would all pop up. Yep. We had that growing up. That's an old game.
Yeah, that's one we probably got at like a garage sale or something.
Probably. Well, cool. That was fun. Did you guys enjoy that?
Yeah.
We made it 25 episodes. That's a good milestone.
It's like half a year.
Yeah, almost. Yeah.
We started in January.
Yeah, I think we published in March is when we first published.
Oops.
Yeah. It took a little while to get organized. But yeah, 25 episodes in a row. Never missing a target date on Tuesday. That's pretty good. I had a podcast years ago, and sometimes it would be 2 months in between episodes. I felt real bad about it, but it was just a lot of work. But I'm glad I have you guys help. Have a little mini celebration here. And we'll get this stitched together, edited up, and thrown up on YouTube so everybody can enjoy it. But we'll go through our normal routine here at the end. Make sure you check out that YouTube channel. Plug. Make sure you check out FamilyGeekery.com. If you have any other questions, write them at podcast@ what is it called? FamilyGeekery.com. Podcast at FamilyGeekery.com. Write us and send us a picture of your favorite games or gadgets or toys that you grew up with, and share with us what you had. But other than that, thank you so much for listening, and peace
out
and geek out.
I hope this was recording. Thank you for listening to the Family Geekery Podcast. For more information, visit www.familygeekery.com. Don't forget to subscribe at your favorite podcast provider. And until next time, peace out and geek out.